We'd like to talk about now how to find relative frequency. Relative frequency is basically taking your frequency for the class that you're looking at and dividing it by the total frequency. So it's basically you're trying to find a decimal for your frequency. So remember, we did do this last time. We found out our total group size was 18. So to find the relative frequency for this first class, we'd take the frequency for that class, which is 1, and divide it by the total frequency, 18. So it'd be 1 divided by 18, which is 0.055. Again, they normally have me turn that into a percentage, so it'd be 5.6%. And again, depending on how they want you to actually round. The next one, you'd find its relative frequency by doing 5 out of 18, because that's the frequency for that class first. And you'd find out that that is 0.277 or 0.2778. So that would round to 27.8%, which means that would be the same for the next class, which also has a 5 out of 18, which would be a 27.8%. And the next class would be the 3 out of the 18, because its class has a frequency of 3, which would, if rounded to the nearest tenth place, would give us 16.7%. And last one, we get 4 out of 18. Well, 4 out of 18 would get us 22.2%. Now, if you wanted to double check what should all of these add up to, they should add up to about 100%. Now, it might be a little bit off due to rounding. It might be a little bit bigger than 100, let's say 100.1 or something like that. Or it might be smaller, a little bit like 99.9, but it should be very close to 100. It shouldn't be getting something like 102 or something like 98%. It should be very close. So that's the idea with relative frequency, is you're finding the frequency relative to the total frequency and then turning it into a percentage. The last thing that they may want you to actually find out is what's called cumulative frequency. Well, if you think about what cumulative means something similar to like when you have the cumulative exam. Midterms are cumulative. Midterm means, well, add up everything that happened before this point in time. That's what's on your test. For a final exam, it's also cumulative. It means everything prior to the end of the class that you've learned. Everything's included. So same thing with cumulative as in frequency. It means you start with the first class and you say everything before it. Well, when you're on the first class, there's nothing before it, so you just have 1. When I hit my second class, that means I'm going to contain it and everything before it, the 5 and the 1, which will be 6. When I hit the third class, I'm going to take it and everything before it, which would actually be 10. When I go to the fourth class, everything it and everything before it would be 14. And the last one would be 18. Notice your cumulative frequency should always end at your total. They should always be working their way upward to your total, because it builds. It's like your final exam. Once I hit the end, I should have everything. And that's it.
In this next problem, what we're going to look at is